Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. Today, we're going to take a focused look at Baijiayun Group based on the information you've shared with us. Our goal is to really dig into what's important here, understand what's happening right now, and ultimately figure out what it all means for you.
Right, and you've given us a pretty comprehensive set of materials on Baijiayun. We've got company profiles, recent performance data, financials, risks, even some new strategic moves. We'll try and pull all that together, give you a clear picture.
That's the plan. So we'll cover Baijiayun's core business, their recent stock activity, which is something, their financial situation, strengths, weaknesses, market view, competitors, and what the future might hold, especially with some very recent news.
Yeah.
Okay, let's unpack this. What exactly does Baijiayun do?
Okay, so they were founded in 2017, based in Nanjing, China. Their focus is really on video-centric technology solutions. Think live streaming, video on demand, real-time communications, and increasingly AI.
AI, interesting.
Yeah, they offer software as a service, platform as a service, serving industries like education, finance, healthcare, IT, a pretty broad range.
So it's definitely more than just standard video conferencing then.
Yeah.
What makes their tech stand out for these, enterprise clients?
Well, a big part is their focus on things like ultra-low latency.
Okay.
I mean, for finance or telehealth, even a tiny delay matters, right?
Absolutely.
And they also emphasize high concurrency, handling lots of users at once, plus real-time interaction, and crucially, data security. These are big selling points for businesses needing reliable video tech.
Got it. That makes sense. Now let's address the elephant in the room, the stock performance recently. The numbers. Well, they don't look great.
No, that's putting it mildly. Over the past year, the stock price has just plummeted, about 95.5%.
Wow.
And even just the last 6 months, it's down roughly 89.5% past month, around 36.9% down.
So where is it trading now?
Currently hovering around 21 cents. The 52-week range was, believe it or not, 16 cents up to $9.69. So quite a fall.
Ouch. And performance like that, it usually triggers some warnings, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Baijiayun got a delisting notification from Nasdaq. Basically, their stock price has been below the minimum $1 requirement for over 30 consecutive days.
Right, the minimum bid price rule.
Exactly. And what makes it trickier for them is they aren't eligible for the usual 180-day grace period to fix it.
Why not?
Because they did a reverse stock split within the past year. So Nasdaq rules kind of preclude that standard grace period in this situation.
Double ouch. So what are they doing about it? Is it game over?
Not yet. They filed an appeal. There's a hearing scheduled for April 24th. And importantly, the stock continues trading while the appeal is ongoing, so we need to watch that date.
Okay, so they're fighting it. Good to know. Let's look past the stock price for a moment, though, and talk about the underlying financial health. What do the statements tell us?
Well, revenue for the trailing 12 months, TTM, is $54.53 million.
Okay, that's something.
It is, but the net loss for that same period is substantial, $62.36 million.
62 million loss on 54 million revenue.
Correct. Their gross margin is 20.25%, but the net profit margin is, well, it's negative 114.35%.
Minus 114%. That suggests serious spending issues. What about debt?
Their debt-to-equity ratio is up there at 64.8%. That's relatively high, definitely something to watch. Earnings per share, also negative, minus $3.24. And they've got negative cash flow from operations.
So burning cash.
Seems like it. Return on equity is also deeply negative, minus 119.52%. And the current ratio, that's a measure of short-term liquidity.
Right, ability to pay immediate bills.
Yeah, it's 0.67. Generally, you want to see that above 1.
Right.
So it suggests they might face challenges meeting short-term obligations.
Anything else jump out from the financials?
The price-to-book ratio is quite low, around 0.16, and perhaps, unsurprisingly, given the losses, they haven't issued any dividends.
Okay, so putting these financial bits together,
Yeah.
We're seeing some pretty clear red flags, aren't we?
Absolutely. That Nasdaq delisting threat is number one. It hits investor confidence hard, makes the stock illiquid. It's a big deal.
For sure.
Then you've got the huge net loss and the high debt levels, raises serious questions about financial sustainability, long-term viability.
And the stock price itself.
Hugely volatile, which just makes it a potentially very risky investment proposition right now.
Okay, lots of risks. But it can't be all bad, surely. The info you shared mentioned some strengths, too.
That's fair, yes. A key strength is their client base. It's diverse and includes some really big names, like Apple and BMW.
Apple and BMW. Okay, that's definitely notable.
It suggests their technology is valued by major players. Plus, their focus on innovative video solutions across different sectors shows they do have some technological edge, potentially.
Right. So there's some underlying capability there. Now let's pivot to recent developments. There's been some interesting news lately, hasn't there?
Yes. Probably the most significant is a new strategic partnership announced just this week, actually. They're teaming up with Beijing Zinlantian Education Technology.
Sinlantian education.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the focus?
It's focused on developing AI-powered rehabilitation solutions, specifically for children with autism.
Wow, okay. That sounds like quite a specific and potentially impactful new direction. How's it supposed to work?
The idea is to combine Baijiayun's AI and large language model tech with Zinlantian's experience in autism rehab. They want to build an intelligent platform, something that can help with diagnosis, create personalized rehab plans using big data, machine learning.
So using AI to tailor therapy.
Essentially, yes, trying to make it more scalable, more personalized for potentially a large number of kids.
And Beijing's role in this is the tech provider.
Pretty much. They'll provide support like their customer management system, online school platforms, those intelligent diagnostic tools, and even help with navigating regulatory stuff for setting up branches.
Interesting move. Any other recent developments besides this partnership?
Yeah, a couple other things. Back on March 12th, they shuffled their board. 2 independent directors resigned, replaced by new folks with backgrounds in finance and IT management.
Maybe trying to bring in some specific expertise given the situation.
Could be. It often signals an attempt to strengthen governance or tackle financial challenges head-on.
What else?
Their annual general meeting is coming up soon, April 25th. Standard stuff on the agenda, director elections, appointing accountants. And on the product front, they've apparently made enhancements to a knowledge platform called Duansunbao and launched a couple of new AI products, Market Ease and QuestWave, aimed at helping businesses optimize operations.
So, still pushing forward on product development despite the other headwinds. Given all of this, the delisting threat, the financials, but also these new moves, what's the general market sentiment around Baijiayun right now?
Well, judging by the news flow, it seems pretty cautious, maybe even negative overall. Understandably, the main headlines have been about the Nasdaq struggle and those poor financial numbers. While that AI partnership is positive news, its actual impact, especially financially and in the short term, is still a big unknown.
And competitively. It's a
Yeah,
crowded space. Video tech.
very crowded. The materials didn't list every single competitor, but you obviously have huge players like Zoom, Microsoft Teams in that broader collaboration space.
So where does Baijiayun fit?
Their edge might be in specializing more in those video-centric AI solutions like the Autism Project, perhaps, and their foothold in the Chinese market. That could be a differentiator.
Okay. Looking ahead then, what are the key things investors should be watching? What are the main risks and potential opportunities?
Well, upcoming catalysts are definitely future earnings reports. We need to see if they can turn those numbers around, and any major product breakthroughs could help.
And the risks? Still the delisting.
Absolutely. The Nasdaq delisting process remains the biggest, most immediate risk. Also, regulatory changes, particularly in China, could always impact operations.
But opportunities exist too.
Yes. That move into AI-powered autism rehab is a clear opportunity, if they execute well. And those new AI enterprise products, Market Ease and QuestWave, could potentially open up new revenue streams down the line.
So if you had to distill it all down, based purely on the information provided, what's the takeaway, the sort of summary recommendation?
You know, given the really significant financial headwinds, the high stock volatility, and that very real delisting risk from Nasdaq, the data points towards a sell recommendation.
A sell.
Yes. While there are strengths, the client list, the tech innovation, or risks right now seem to just outweigh those positives based on this info.
Okay, so summing up our look at the materials, we've got a company, Baijiayun, with some genuinely interesting tech, some impressive clients, but facing really serious financial problems in this critical challenge to stay listed on Nasdaq.
Yeah.
The new AI partnership is intriguing, offers a potential future path, but it's happening against this backdrop of significant near-term danger.
It's a stark contrast, isn't it? The technological capability versus the current financial vulnerability. That Nasdaq hearing on April 24th, that's going to be absolutely crucial to watch.
It really highlights the complexities, doesn't it? Innovation is great, but it's not always enough on its own. Financial health, the regulatory landscape, they matter hugely. Hopefully this breakdown has given everyone listening a clearer picture of the key factors swirling around Baijiayun Group.
And we definitely encourage you to do your own follow-up research. Look at the official filings, keep an eye on the news after that Nasdaq hearing and the AGM. Market reaction to those events will tell us a lot.
Absolutely. If you found this insightful, please do subscribe, like this episode, and maybe leave a comment with any further questions or perhaps topics you'd like us to explore in the future.